Storytelling is a wonderful thing. Whether it be through a good book or an engrossing movie, there's nothing like immersing yourself in a fantastic tale. One of my favorite stories in recent memory is one filled with despair, destruction, and blood. Let's enter the messed up world of Tokyo Ghoul. Our story follows Ken Kaneki, a young man living in a world where ghouls aren't just a scary creature crawling around in your imagination. Oh no, they're very real, and they want to gobble you up. Or at least that's a nice way of putting it. You see, ghouls in this universe survive by eating the flesh of humans, using the cover of night to stalk around and prey on the unsuspecting. Pretty disturbing, but what really tingles the spine is the fact that they look just like any other human when they aren't all red-eyed and lusting for blood. Turns out, Kaneki is just as wide-eyed on the subject, falling for the good looks of Rise Kamishiro. After going on a date with her and walking her home, he quickly finds himself fighting for his life as the temptress reveals her true form. On the verge of death, his life is spared when steel beams come raining down from above, incapacitating his attacker. In a bizarre twist, Kaneki wakes up to find that he has no appetite for the normal foods we consume daily. After a series of gut-wrenching pieces of knowledge, he comes to discover that he has seemingly become part ghoul, his one eye a testament to this alteration. Struggling to hold on to his humanity, he's taken in by the ghouls of Anteiku, the coffee shop he frequents. What follows are his trials effectively living between two worlds, that of his human side and a world where he must learn to control and accept the ghoul within him or be destroyed. And that's the premise. What, not what you were expecting? Well, let me give you a warning before you decide to read or watch any further. Tokyo Ghoul is a tragedy. And not tragic like, oh, that's so sad, random character A is gonna die. Oh no, it's tragic in every sense of the word. People will die, souls will be crushed. This will not have a happy ending. Sounds a lot like a game series I've been enjoying lately. Now, for those of you that are approaching this with a fresh outlook, here's my opinion. Avoid the anime and read the manga. I know that's a bold statement to make and likely to annoy some folks, but overall, the anime was incredibly disappointing. And no, this does not come from a place of superiority. A lot of the time, I prefer to watch some anime as opposed to reading. And it's not for lack of trying on its part or mine. Visually, the anime looks great at times, despite some unfortunate censorship. The voice acting performances are generally good. Natsuki Hane is thankfully a standout in the role of our main character, Ken Kaneki. Oh, and it's got the best damn opening in recent memory. Seriously though, I love it. Anyway, long story short, all the ingredients are there, so why then did I find it disappointing? How could it fail? Well, let me follow that up with another question. How can you cram 143 chapters of manga into 24 episodes? Rhetorical, friends, you just can't. Especially when each chapter is on average 18 pages of lovingly crafted dialogue and art, full to the brim with subtle details. There's just no feasible way to compress that richness into such a short amount of content. Now, to be fair, as a standalone work, the anime is totally fine. If you're someone who went straight into it, I imagine you'd enjoy yourself. And that's great. Either way, I'm happy people are paying attention to the story and characters that inhabit the messed up world of Tokyo Ghoul. Sui Ishida deserves many plaudits for bursting onto the scene in the last few years and giving us all an engrossing work to latch onto and appreciate. However, that doesn't change the fact that from the perspective of someone who started reading the manga beforehand, the anime adaptation we're getting now doesn't live up to the expectations set by the source material. The fact that Tokyo Ghoul was the 4th best-selling manga in Japan last year further highlights its growing popularity and enduring quality. Simply put, for all the effort and detail put into the manga, it deserves an anime version that lives up to those standards. In regards to the manga, it's not simply that there's more detail. A written work is almost always going to be more specific than a movie or TV adaptation. That's a given. Rather, it's how Ishida masterfully uses foreshadowing throughout his writing and visuals to paint his canvas of tragedy. So, if you decide to start reading this story, let me be very clear. Pay attention to everything. No, I'm serious. Take your time. Look carefully at every last image and piece of dialogue. Now, the foreshadowing in the manga is done in clever ways. Not only does it arise from what characters say and do, but through distinct visuals and references to real-life works. This revolves partially around patterns and numbers, both obvious and hidden. While the patterns have their own meanings, the numbers relate to that of tarot cards. These cards are largely used for divinatory purposes, with each card, much like a deck of playing cards, holding a number and corresponding figure. For example, number 2 is the High Priestess, which contains a range of interpretations. Maybe it represents wisdom, common sense, and intuition, or maybe it represents that of a powerful woman standing on her own. Or hell, maybe it represents both. Either way, if you find a hidden number related to a character in the story, it might just hint at their fate or their motivations. The second big aspect to the story are the references, most notably to that of Franz Kafka and his works. In particular, his novel The Metamorphosis contains many potent themes that are directly relatable and referenced within the story: alienation, brutality, familial conflicts, transformations, and more. So, if you decide to read the manga, keep these two aspects in mind. And, again, pay close attention to every single panel. You just might catch on to something earlier than expected. However, that's all I'm willing to divulge. You'll just have to read it yourself to figure it all out. Tokyo Ghoul is a fantastic piece of modern storytelling, taking an interesting concept and making it an engrossing experience. While I absolutely love my grand, fun-filled stories, I applaud Sui Ishida for bravely stepping into territory that isn't explored as often: tragedy. Despite the sadness that drips off of each page, there are so many layers to it all that you won't catch everything in one read through, unless you're super meticulous, in which case share what you found with me. I'm sure I've still missed a lot of interesting details. And who am I kidding? If you decide to indulge in the strange fantasy of Tokyo Ghoul, do so with whatever method works best for you. I'm just one guy on the internet making my case for what I think is the best way. At the end of the day, so long as you're enjoying yourself and supporting this wonderful story, then I guess I can't complain. All I'll say is, for potential manga readers, don't forget, you read from right to left. What, I can't end on some helpful advice? Anyway, I'm gonna go play more Bloodborne. Peace!